Hello everyone, welcome back to Online Maths Hub. And so we have this beautiful problem to solve right there on the screen. And so without wasting much of our time, if you're new to our channel, just hit the subscription button and also turn on the notification icon so that whenever we release new content, you actually get to know about it. And of course, you can also do what to give this video a thumb up. And once you're done doing that, let's continue with this video. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually to take the cube of both sides. I want to raise both sides to power 3 so I can actually remove this cube root right here. Okay, so if I do that, I'm going to be having that this is cube root of x, root x is equal to 4. So I'm going to raise them to power 3. Okay, of course, this can now cancel this, and I'm left with x root x is equal to 4 raised to power 3. Okay, so next thing I want to do is actually to take the square of both sides so that I can also remove this square root right here, and I have x square root of x, okay, all raised to power 2 is equal to 4 power 3 or raised to power 2. Okay, so at this point x squared is actually x raised to power 2 is actually x squared multiplied by this, can actually cancel this, and then I'm left with x right here. Okay, and it's equal to 4 power 3, okay, or raised to power 2. Nice one. Okay, so moving on, this times this is x raised to power 3 is equal to 4 raised to power 3, and then multiplied or power 2. Okay, so what do we do again? What I'm going to do now is I want to switch this stuff right here. Of course, you know that if you have a raised to power b and then bracket x, you can also write this as a raised to power x, and then you bring out the b. Either at the same time, I want to apply that here, and if I do that, I'm going to be having x raised to power 3 is equal to 4, okay, raised to power 2, and then I'll bring out the power 3 right there. Okay, so clearly you can see here that I have, if I bring this onto this, I now have x raised to power 3 minus 4 power 2, then of course raised to power 3, and it is equal to 0. Why am I doing this? I actually want to get an expression in this form, that is a power 3 minus b raised to power 2. So I can actually expand this, because if you remember, this can actually be expanded to be a minus b bracket a squared plus ab, okay, and then plus b squared. Okay, so I actually want to use this expression right here to expand this, where in this case my a is actually x, and then my b is equal to 16, which is 4 raised to power 2. Okay, so what I have right here now is x cubed minus 16 is equal to 0. Of course, this is 16 raised to power 3. Okay, so using this expansion right here, what I'm going to be having is the x, okay, minus 16, okay, and then x squared plus, this is a times b, right? A times b, so I will have 16x plus b squared, and that is 16 squared. Okay, now it is, of course, this is equal to 0. So from here I am having, using the zero product rule, that I have that x minus 16 is actually equal to 0, and of course from here my x is equal to 16, okay, and then the second one, this bracket x squared plus 16x plus 16 squared is also equal to 0. So at this point I've actually gotten my x to be equal to 16. This is the first value for x, and of course if you put it right here, you're actually going to be noticing that it's satisfied, because if you put 16 right here and then square root of 16 over here, I just evaluate this here. This is the cube root of 16, and then square root of 16 is actually 4, Okay, would that give us 4? Let's check. I can actually write this as this is cube root of 4 squared times 4. Okay, and of course this is actually going to give us 4. But let's still find out. So this is cube root of 4 raised to power 3. Okay, and 3 can cancel this, and this now becomes 4. So the first solution, which is 16, actually satisfied. Now we can go ahead to simplify this further so that we get the remaining two values of x that will satisfy this equation. So this is a quadratic equation, and then I'm going to be using the formula method to actually simplify this. Okay, and to do that, I'll have my x is equal to minus b, and then plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Okay, and in this case, my a is actually this the coefficient of x squared, which is 1 in this case, and then my b is equal to the coefficient of x, which is 16, and then my c will be equal to this constant, which is 16 squared. Okay, of course, you can also evaluate this 16 squared, but I have my reason for it, leaving it that way so that it makes the work easier for me. Okay, so substituting it in this formula, I have that my x is equal to minus b, which is minus 16, and then plus or minus the square root of 16 squared. Okay, minus 4 times 1. Okay, and then multiplied by 16 squared. Okay, now of course it's divided by 2 times 1, and this is actually going to give me 16 plus minus 16 plus or minus the square root of 16 squared minus of 4 times 16 squared. Okay, or divided by 2. Okay, 2 times 1 is actually 2. Okay, so moving on, what are we going to do again? Let me just write here. This will give me minus 16 plus or minus the square root of, okay, I can actually factorize 16 squared here. 16 squared into, if you factorize it here, 1 will remain minus. If you bring it out here, what will remain is 4. Okay, and it's divided by 2. Okay, now this is equal to, from here, this is minus 16 squared, and then plus or minus the, I can actually take the square of this 16 right here, so that this 16 square right here, so that the square root of this 16 square now becomes 16. Okay, and I have inside the square root 1 minus 4, which is actually minus 3. Okay, and is divided by 2. Can actually use this 2 to divide this. So 2 divided is 16, give me minus 8. Okay, plus or minus this, divide this, will give me 82. And then I have root minus 3, and I can write minus 3 as minus 1, and then times times 3. Okay, so which this is actually going to be equal to minus 8, and then plus or minus 8. Root 1 is actually, so this is equal to root minus 1 times root minus 3. And then finally, my answer becomes minus 8 plus or minus 8. Root 1 is actually I, and then times root 3 right there. So the remaining two values of x from here, x are now minus 8 plus 8i root 3, or minus 8 minus 8i root 3. So these are the remaining two values of x, which will also satisfy that equation right there. Okay, so I'm going to use the remaining few minutes to actually confirm whether this satisfies. So I'm going to solve this. Okay, I'm going to check whether this, the first one right here, satisfy the equation, and of course you can also go ahead to check out it, and you will also see that both of them actually satisfy this equation. Okay. Okay, so the question we actually want to check whether it satisfies is cube root of x then into the square root of x is equal to 4. And of course, when we evaluated this, we actually saw that this is equal to x cube, okay, is equal to 4 raised to power 3 and then squared. Of course, which we also evaluated this to be x cube is equal to 4 squared and then raised to power 3. So this was what we have. And so in other words, we want to check whether x equal to minus 8 plus or minus 8I root 3 actually satisfy that equation. Okay, so and of course I'm just gonna be checking for the case of positive, that is a minus 8 plus 8I root 3. I want to check whether this satisfy. So I'm just going to plug it in here and then I'll continue with the simplification. So I want to check whether minus 8 plus 8I root 3, whether this cube will actually give me 4 raised to power 2. And of course, if you evaluate it, this is actually 16 raised to power 3. Okay, which of course the right hand side is actually going to give us 4096. So we want to find out whether this left hand side will give us 4096. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to expand this to be minus 8 plus 8I root 3 squared, and then it also multiplied by minus 8 plus 8I root 3. Okay, so if you evaluate this one, you're going to be having that this is a 64, okay, plus 2 into minus 8 and then times 8I root 3, okay, and then plus 8I root 3 squared, and then all is also going to be multiplied by minus 8 plus 8I root 3, okay, and then moving on, this is a 64 and then minus, if you multiply this through, minus 8 times 8 is actually minus 64, and then multiply by 2 will give us minus 128I root 3, okay, and then minus from here 8 squared is actually 64, and then I squared is minus 1, okay, 64 times 3 right here is also multiplied by minus 8 plus 8I root 3. Moving further, inside this bracket, I have 64 minus 128I root 3, and then minus, if you multiply this, you should be having 192, okay, and then it's also going to be multiplied by 8 plus 8I root 3, and then if you evaluate this, minus 198 plus 64 should give us minus 128, okay, and then minus this 128I root 3. Okay, so this is also what I'm going to be using to multiply this, that is 8 plus 8I root 3. Minus 128 here times minus 8 here will give us 1, that is positive 1024. If you also use this to multiply this, what you're going to be having is minus 128. Okay, so let me just write it and then I'll simplify. Multiply by 8I root 3. Okay, now coming over to this one, you use this to multiply this, and then you have plus 8 times 128I root 3. Okay, and then if you use this to multiply this, you are going to be having minus 8I root 3, and then multiply by 128, okay, I root 3. And then moving on, so I've got this to give me 1028, and then minus, I also have 1024 I root 3 right here, and then plus this time this will also give me 1024, that is 8 times 128, 1024 I root 3. So you can see that this one will cancel this, and then if you multiply this times I is minus 1, and then minus 1 times positive minus here will actually give me positive. So what I'm going to be having here is positive 1024 times 3, because root 3 times root 3 will give me 3. What I'm going to be having now is 1024 and then plus 1024 times 3. Okay, 1024 plus if you multiply this, you're having 3092, and then if you add both of them, what you're going to be having is this is actually 3072 right here, 3072. Okay, and then if you now add both of them, 4 plus 2 is actually 6, and then if you add this is 9. So if you add both of them, you are going to be having 4096, which is actually the same with what we have at the right hand side over here. So you saw that this was what we got at the right hand side, and then evaluating this one, you also see that it gave us the same thing right here. Okay, so you can also go ahead to check the second value, which is actually the negative part. So you can go ahead to take minus 8 and then minus 8I root 3 and see whether that satisfies. Of course, it also satisfies. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more updates. And I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Bye.